future of American automotive is electric, but what's it like to own an electric vehicle? And is now the right time to buy? I'm Julie from NerdWallet, and I'm here to help you out. I've never driven an electric vehicle before, but I'm renting this electric vehicle, and I'm taking it from San Jose, California to Las Vegas, Nevada. I'll be documenting my journey along the way so you can get a general glimpse of what it's like to drive an electric vehicle. I rented an electric SUV. I received a 2023 Chevy Bolt. The part of the car that is really interesting to me is actually this part, which is the infotainment. That's what this screen right here is called. The way you switch gears, it's vertical instead of a shifter or anything like I'm used to. There's a push button right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and push that. And the car's on. There is no noise, no indication to let me know that the vehicle is on. The other interesting aspect is on the right side of the dash, it says regen, and that stands for regenerative braking. And so what happens when you drive an electric vehicle is as you stop the car, the energy from the tires and from braking can sometimes go back into the battery. And that's what this is telling me. So it has that, and then right above it, it has a little kilowatt with a little lightning bolt, and that number is 1 right now. But it'll tell me as I'm braking how much of the energy is getting put back into the battery. Currently, I have about 80% battery maybe, which is 182 miles max. And the minimum that they assume that I can get with my drive is 149 with the current battery. I'm driving 150 miles to the next charger. So to be safe, I am going to be charging the car in San Jose before I go to the next station. I know the range of this car can fluctuate as I'm driving by using the air conditioning, turning on the lights, doing other aspects in the vehicle that impacts the battery. And that part makes me a little bit nervous. So I will be starting my journey off without an air conditioning. Yeah, that part just makes me a little bit nervous. Let's go ahead and get started. I have my snacks, car is on, let's get going. So charging the first time has already been an adventure. I am at a charging station in San Jose. It is in Electrify America. It's in like a suburban area, and there are only 3 chargers. 2 of them do not work. When I pulled up, 1 was already being used. So I waited for them to finish. They said they would be about 5 minutes, and they were. And then I plugged in. I am currently at 6 minutes charging, and I have 82% battery. I did run into a Tesla owner who told me that if I try to charge to 100, it's probably going to take a long time. I knew that the car functioned the best between 20 and 80%, but I didn't realize that it would take so long to charge to 100. So what I'm going to do during this charge is actually go grab some breakfast at the shopping center behind me. If I come back and it's not 100, I'll just drive with what I have and hope for the best. This is the total charging information. I charged for 25 minutes. It got me to 90% battery. It cost me only $3.92, which is less than a tank of gas in my area. Pretty affordable, not a ton of charge in my opinion, but let's give this a drive and actually get started on this. I have 199 miles that is like charged, and I could do a minimum of 163 depending on my driving, as well as if I use infotainment and all of that. So I'm feeling pretty good. My first stop is 150 miles away. Let's get going. So I'm about halfway to the first official charger I wanted to stop at on this trip. I've noticed a couple of things that I thought were worth mentioning. I decided to turn on the air conditioning. I was trying to go so far without the AC, but it was starting to get very hot. So when I go on a road trip in my gas vehicle, which we road trip pretty frequently, I feel like I'm in control of the trip. I know how much mileage I could get from the car. When I'm ready to stop, I'll stop. And I know what to expect and all of that. Where in this vehicle, I feel like the vehicle's in charge. I have my places where I need to stop, but it just feels like there's a little less freedom, which is kind of funny to think about because it's the same thing as with a gas car, right? Like I can only drive as many miles I have in the tank, but I don't know why with the battery, it just feels different. And it might just be because I have a vehicle with smaller battery. So I'm plugged in. I got here with 60 miles left on the car. It said it'll take 45 minutes to get completely charged. So I'm not completely sure what I'm gonna do right now. There is a restroom and like gas station shop right there. So I'm gonna go check that out. I might read a little bit. It's not like in the middle of nowhere, but it's definitely, you know, the side of the freeway type of stop. The exit prior to this was like maybe like 30 miles away. I might just scroll on my phone, catch up on the day. Okay, stay tuned. Paying at ChargePoint was a little bit harder than my first stop in San Jose, which was Electrify America. Electrify America, I could just use my card, like at a gas station. Here, I had to use the app to pay. So, you know, if my phone was dead or something, that would be a problem. Thankfully, like once I added the payment information, it wasn't too challenging, but it was a little frustrating when I got out and I went to pay and I was like, ah. The car is past 80%. So I've noticed that on the car and on the chargers, everything is like 80%, which again goes back to what I've read about how the battery is the most effective between 20 and 80%. It hit 80%, it only had 150 miles, and I need to drive 164 to the next stop. So I wanted to make sure that I had enough. So I let the car charge past that. I've probably been here almost an hour now. It's at 90% now, and it has taken like 10 extra minutes to get to this point. So let's unplug and get going. Total's $24, and I charged for 1 hour and 9 minutes. We have about 5 more hours of driving. Our next stop is in 2.5 hours. All right, let's get back on the road. We have 199 miles. I need to drive 164. The minimum is 163. So as long as I use cruise control and I am just mindful of the air conditioning and all the infotainment I'm using, I should be good to go. So I am 47 minutes, 52 miles from my next charge. And like the way I'm using energy right now, I have 79 miles. I'm starting to feel the charging anxiety that I've heard about. I will be charging the car now with 10% of the battery. So I'm expecting it to take longer too. I will be good. I'm trying to think positively. I can make it. I will be okay. It just is a little bit scary of a feeling, and one that I don't necessarily feel I have with my gas car, because with my gas car, I know there's going to be gas. I'm also starting to drive through mountains, which is making me nervous as well, because this range that I have is for flat areas. I'm definitely getting very nervous. I think that was the most stressful drive of my life. It's my fault. I should have stopped in Bakersfield. I saw the charger. I was like, no, I'm good, because I planned for Mojave. That was probably a mistake. I got here with like no juice. So I'm charging now. I'm feeling better. I'm gonna go inside and see if they have a restroom, maybe some juice or I don't know, water or something that I could buy. I can't believe I almost killed the battery on it. I've heard and read that electric vehicles need to be towed via flatbed, because it's not like running out of gas. You run out of gas and you just, you know, someone brings you 5 gallons and you're good. But I made it. I'm okay. I'm gonna go take care of myself and I will be back. It will take an hour. The car is charged enough for me, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it. This charge cost me $28. I am at 88%. This charging spot was interesting. It was nice because it was like a real bathroom and not a gas station bathroom. The bathroom was part of the hotel. It's extremely windy here, so I was not able to like do anything outside. I did read for most of the charging. Besides that, I had to charge my cell phone because it was dying. So I used my external charger, and throughout the time I was there, the lot was completely full. Pretty popular charger. My guess is because I'm in the Mojave Desert, it's likely one of the only chargers available. We are at 189 miles. A maximum of 233, minimum of 154. I need to drive 120, and I am 3 hours from Vegas. So I will be driving an hour and a half to Baker, California. I looked up where the charger is. It's an EVgo charger, and it is at the world's biggest thermometer. Right now, between ChargePoint and Electrify America, I prefer Electrify America just because I didn't need to use the app to charge anything. We will see how EVgo is. And then after that, we'll be in Vegas. I just plugged in at EVgo. Not a great experience so far. Unfortunately, 1, 2, 3 of the chargers are not working. It says I'll be at 80% at 8:15. I only need to drive 90 miles, so I might just go to like 70 or like 60. Paying was really easy. I was able to just do it right here. Also, this is the world's largest thermometer behind me, so that's pretty fun. It's 7:16 on a Sunday, and there's not much to do. So like the gift shop for the largest thermometer in the world is closed, so can't do that. Yeah, so I'm probably just gonna hang in the car, text with my husband, just chill until I have enough to get going to Vegas. All right, so this charge we got up to 57%, 23 minutes, and I didn't see the rest. All right. Unfortunately, EVgo was my least favorite. There was nothing to do. Partly my fault. I got here a little later again on a Sunday, but even beyond that. So we're in the home stretch now. Let's get going. Last hour and 20 minutes of the ride. So when I got here, I had 60 miles left. After charging for 20 minutes, I have 131, and my minimum is 107. Again, I only need 85 miles, and then I'm at my destination, Vegas. I'm driving to Vegas, right? The last leg. I didn't realize it was hilly for the last part, which is my mistake. Probably should have Googled it. However, I currently have 78 miles on the car with 62 miles to go. And I have a minimum of 63 miles. So 1 mile. I am starting to get charging anxiety again, and it is awful. I have turned off the air conditioning. I'm trying to conserve battery so I'm not plugging in my phone. Yeah, this part of this trip has not been fun. Like, not knowing if I'm going to make it to a destination is not fun. And I looked up a couple of EV chargers on the way, and I couldn't really find anything. So I'm hoping, because of logic, right, that the hill goes up and then it goes down. And when it goes down, it'll spare some of the battery and I will be okay. But there's a very good chance I may end up needing a tow close to Vegas. I hope that's not the case though, because this is not fun. Here we go. I made it. I'm here. I have a lot of thoughts, but I'm really tired. That was a very long drive. I will be here for a couple of days, so I'll be checking in about a week with some takeaways. I am back from Vegas, and I actually have some takeaways to share with you. So the first one is the infrastructure for charging is very inconsistent. I live in San Jose, California. Obviously, there are chargers probably within like 10 feet of each other where I live, being in Silicon Valley. I noticed that as I was driving, or even as I was planning out the trip, that there would be instances where there wouldn't be a charger for 50, 60 miles. That would make it really challenging if you are in need of a charge. In addition to that, I have experienced some places where the charger didn't work. So I would get there and there would be 6 chargers apparently, and only 2 or 3 would work. So makes it a little bit challenging if you're relying only on public chargers. If you have the ability to set up a charger at home or something, it might be a little easier. Some charging stations have tiered prices. That means that if the charging station is one of the only ones available in that area, the price is going to be higher. So I actually confirmed that on EVgo's site. The Baker, California charging station that I used was a high tier. So the charge price there was probably a little bit higher than it is, for example, in, I don't know, San Jose, California, or somewhere else, California. A lot of charging stations have memberships, and these memberships allow you to get discounted rates. I did not use a membership for anything that I bought. I also spoke to a couple people at the pumps who did have memberships, and they said that they were very happy with their membership. They loved, the charging station they were using and so on and so forth. If you decide to go EV, maybe determine if one of these memberships is best for you. Electrify America has one, ChargePoint has one. See if it makes sense for you and if you would be charging enough, and if so, then potentially sign up. So should you buy an electric vehicle? There are 3 things you need to think about. The first is your driving habits. How often do you drive your car? How far do you drive your car? Would you be okay with stopping to charge, or would you rather just go fill up your gas tank and move forward? If you don't drive your car too often or too far, for example, maybe you live 5 minutes away from your work and you have kids and are picking up your kids from school that are just 2 miles away, an electric vehicle would be a great option for you, especially in your day-to-day. If you are someone who has to drive farther distances to either visit family or you prefer to take longer road trips, you might want to have a gas vehicle as a backup or just stick with gas for now. The second thing you need to think about is if it fits your budget and your finances. So electric vehicles are becoming more affordable than they were when they first were released. However, they are still priced a little bit higher than new gas cars. According to Cox Automotive, which is a data company, the average transaction price for electric cars was $55,242 in April 2024, and that's compared to $44,989 for a new gas car in the same period, so in April 2024. The good news is not all electric cars are priced very high, so don't feel like you're getting priced out. You can buy used, first of all. And second of all, there are a handful of electric vehicles that are brand new that are under $40,000. So there are options. You just have to know what to look for and look for the right vehicle. Another factor that you need to think about when determining if you should buy an electric vehicle is any tax credits or incentives you may receive for buying the vehicle. So for example, the federal tax credit for electric vehicles will grant you up to $7,500 for a new eligible electric vehicle and up to $4,000 for a used eligible electric vehicle. The interesting thing is now you're able to transfer that tax credit over to an eligible dealership. So what that means is your sticker price can be lowered. So that means you would take less money out for a loan, or you would just pay less money upfront. That might be a great option for you. Another financial aspect to consider is leasing. Leasing is actually a really great option for someone who's not sure they want to own an electric vehicle, because at the end of the lease term, you can either turn the vehicle back in to the dealership or you can choose to buy the vehicle. Leasing almost completely died during the pandemic. The pricing of used cars was higher than new cars, and leasing was dead. Thankfully, it has returned and it's starting to get more and more popular, and there are some really great incentives, and you could probably find a really great deal on an electric vehicle lease. The last factor to consider is charging. Are you going to be charging at home? Would you be using electric stations? Most vehicles come with a level 1 charger, which is a charger that uses the standard wall socket. However, there is a level 2 charger that you can get installed into your house. So the difference is that the level 1 charger charges at 5 miles per charging hour compared to the level 2, which charges 25 miles per charging hour. The level 2 charger requires a 240 volt outlet, which may mean you need to hire an electrician to get that installed. That's the same outlet that your dryer uses, for example. If you tend to use more of your battery during the day, the level 2 is going to be the best bet for you. If you are just doing light driving occasionally, you could probably get away with a level 1 and then charge at a level 3, which is the fast charger that you see at a public network. As I mentioned earlier, the public charging stations have memberships. You can always just get a membership at one of your charging stations near your house and test that out and see how that works. So that's also, again, something to think about, because charging is not going to be free. While you won't be paying for gas, you will have to pay for charging somehow. There's no right or wrong answer when it comes to buying an electric vehicle. If you do opt to buy, you'll want to make sure you buy an electric vehicle that fits your lifestyle, your budget, and your needs. Hi, I'm Julie Myrie Nunes, a cars and auto loans editor at NerdWallet. We're expanding our coverage to give you more car reviews and firsthand experiences. If you're curious about something, leave a comment below.